What's up? My name is Warren Snipe. Everyone calls me Wawa, and this is my sign name. Who are you two?
I'm Shayna, and this is my sign name.
My name is Scott, and this is my sign name.
Nice to meet you two. Can you tell me more about yourselves? You're here at Gallaudet University for a big reason, right?
Deafness is a big part of our lives. Big time. We went to a deaf school growing up, which is also where we met a very long time ago.
That's right.
When did we meet again?
I was 14 years old, and you were 17.
That's right. I was 17 years old. Wow. We've known each other for half our lives, right? We met and later went our own ways. Then we came to Gallaudet University, where we met again. Meeting again jump-started our connection, and we've been connected until this very day. Gallaudet and the deaf community have always been a big part of our lives. I studied, graduated, and found myself at a deaf school again, working as a math teacher. Shayna?
I was working there as a school counselor.
We worked there for about 4 or 5 years, and then decided to take a leap of faith by leaving our jobs together. We dove into the world of mountain climbing and adventure, like Shayna mentioned. That was really challenging. It was a completely different world and mindset. We ended up loving it.
That's right.
So you two were drawn to each other over and over, and now you've seen the world. You've climbed mountains. How many mountains have you been to?
If you're talking about mountains all over the world, generally speaking, we've been to countless peaks. However, we narrowed our goal to the 7 summits, which are the tallest mountains on each continent. Of those 7, we've been to 4 and have 3 left. We've been to Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. That was our first trip. Second was South America, Aconcagua. Third, we went to Denali, which is the tallest mountain in North America, in the state of Alaska. The fourth and most recent one was the summit of Mount Everest in Asia.
And your plan is to go to all 7 continents.
Yes,
That's the goal.
we created a project called Seeing Beyond 7 Summits. The goal of this project is to empower people and encourage them to change their perception of deaf people. Others often think of us as having barriers. We want them to see beyond that and recognize we can overcome obstacles. The goal isn't just to climb mountains, it's to spread awareness and change perspectives about deaf and hard of hearing people. We want to change their attitudes.
And we want to inspire youth to dream big.
That's important.
It's the most important thing.
So often, people generally tend to feel when they see you making changes in your journey, they start to feel that things are possible for themselves. For example, the word Sherpas. This is a climbing term that many people feel like you two embody.
No,
No? There's also a sign for Sherpas. What exactly is it?
Shayna shared this.
the sign for Sherpa is this. This is because climbers are always wearing backpacks to carry things. Sherpas tend to use bags attached to a headband that rest on their heads. They find it more balanced, and it makes it easier to carry heavy loads. The hand shape evolved a bit.
So their necks are super swole?
I truly tip my hat. We wouldn't have made it to the summit of Everest without them.
Okay, so what's the difference between climbers and Sherpas? Sherpas are more like guides? Do Sherpas have more detailed knowledge?
Most people don't realize that Sherpas are natives. They were born and raised in the mountains. In the Mount Everest region, there's a valley that surrounds it. They grew up there playing soccer and various things at 16 to 18,000 feet. Their lungs are conditioned because they grew up in these areas. They have their own languages, families like tribes, and they take care of each other. As time went on, mountain climbers would come and need help from people who knew the area intimately and could guide them through the mountains. This is where the Sherpas come in. They join the groups and become our guides. They know the area well, are able to read the weather, and are familiar with the proper foods to cook.
It's like they could go to the summit with their eyes closed. They knew the route deeply and helped us set up camps before the summit. They made sure we were safe and comfortable on the mountain. It was more than just the title of Sherpa, a guide.
I think we need to recognize the efforts that made this possible. They were truly our heroes, and we need to recognize them and give them credit. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't have made it to the top. We give them credit, and that is the most important thing.
It's more like a person, not just someone physically trained, but someone who is mentally and possibly spiritually trained. They were prepared to become a future Sherpa.
We don't think we'll ever meet the level of a Sherpa. You're right, though. They definitely prepared us spiritually and mentally for the mountain. There were so many things we were unsure about, with many doubts, concerns, and worries. They were able to support and guide us through these things. The bond that we developed on the mountain will always be cherished. We always tell people that if we ever return to Nepal to climb other summits, we wouldn't want to do it with anyone but them. We are really connected to them.
We give thanks to the people who are Sherpas and do this for a living and who cared for your well-being. That's really important. Thank you to them.
It went both ways. We cared for each other, and that relationship was precious.
Speaking of Sherpas, you're both deaf. They've probably never met deaf people before. How did that work when interacting with them? How did you approach them, or how did they approach you two? Did you have to negotiate, say yes or no? How did you feel? What was it like?
I think that's the million-dollar question. It's a question we get often. A lot of people don't realize that Sherpas have their own language, Sherpa, which is their indigenous and native language. After learning that first, they learn Nepali second. Then they know a small amount of spoken English, but not much written English. However, that's their third language. For us, ASL is obviously our first language, and written English is our second language. In this situation, we realized there was a huge communication barrier. How do we communicate? They knew 3 languages, and we knew 2. Which language should we use? We had this realization at base camp. We eventually decided to use Google Translate at first, but we knew that once we got to higher elevations, phones wouldn't be a good solution. We can't take our gloves off to use them either. We talked about it, and we knew that we had natural deaf intuition. When it comes down to it, signing is the best way to communicate. We decided to teach them how to sign, starting with gestures. Then we did international sign mixed in with a little bit of ASL. We were together for 2 months, so in the beginning, we couldn't understand each other. By the end of that 2-month period, we could communicate well. It wasn't perfect, but we were able to travel up and down the mountain safely. The Sherpa attitude toward deaf people was super positive, and they were very willing to learn. With the right attitude, you create great results. We often tell people that it's about the attitude. Your heart has to be in the right place. You have to be caring, open-minded, and willing to learn about different cultures and languages. It became a beautiful process and experience.
I think a powerful remark that the Sherpas said to us on the first day was, "We've been to the summit many times. What's the best way to communicate with you?" That line, what's the best way to communicate with you, meant they were willing and open-minded to listen to us and work with us. That was a powerful statement, the best way to work with you. It was important.
It's funny. At heights of 26,000, 28,000 feet, you need oxygen masks. Hearing people always have a hard time communicating because they can't talk through the masks.
That's right.
The wind is so strong too.
Right, the wind is so strong, and they have to take their mask off to try and talk over the wind. With us, we could all sign. And I think the Sherpas kind of thought we weren't so bad after all. It all goes back to perspective.
That's the deaf game.
That's right.
You taught them that they were able to gain a 4th language. That's so good.
Yes, and it was nice for us to be in that space and educate them. Too often, deaf people hesitate. We did that, and they were able to see that not only could we do it, but there was a benefit. Signing is so cool. and I could probably learn signs for emergency situations. It changed their perspective, and it's the little things like that that go a long way.
That's right. I did think, how did Gallaudet prepare us? When I arrived as a student, I had no idea I would climb mountains. I wanted to be a social worker, and that experience was one I worked towards. However, it was the little lessons I learned at Gallaudet. Connecting with people, growing. Coming to Gallaudet, the most beautiful thing was the diversity. We have people from across the country and the world. They all brought their experience and knowledge to the classroom and social situations. I learned so much, and all of those little things added up through my experience at Gallaudet. Going out into the world gave me confidence to meet new people on the mountain and learn about their experiences as we went along. Gallaudet gave me that. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't be where I am now.
What made you decide to come to Gallaudet University? Why did you choose it?
We've had this conversation before. Why did we pick Gallaudet? I think the biggest thing we discussed was growth. I remember asking, where can we go that will give us the most growth possible? The answer was Gallaudet University. It's a place where everyone signs and uses ASL, which is our first language. I can't imagine going to a different place where we needed interpreters, and there were communication barriers due to the lack of ASL use and communication access. We chose Gallaudet because it's so beautiful to be able to use ASL. There's so much growth potential here.
And when we came to Gallaudet, this growth wasn't just about the environment, but about me as a person. As I grew, I experienced things that I would never have experienced otherwise. I knew that coming to Gallaudet would give me that opportunity. But once I experienced it, I grew beyond what I could have envisioned. That was powerful in itself.
Okay, I have a question. Have you wondered what life would be like if you never went to Gallaudet University? Would you be together? Would you still have gone mountain climbing? Would you have been traveling and met each other? What would life look like?
That's a heavy question.
Do I even want to think what life would look like without Gallaudet? Probably not. To be honest, I definitely don't think life would be the same as it is now. It'd be impossible for us to be here, sitting and talking with you. I think our lives would have diverged into different paths. I'd be a different person. My confidence and pride in my identity and who I am as Shayna, a deaf mountain climber, would never have been the same. Gallaudet gave me that power and confidence within that experience.
That's right. I think the biggest thing in particular is our deaf identity. The world can be a scary place, and our deaf identity is a huge part of us. As deaf or hard of hearing individuals, the world moves without us. Gallaudet gave us that pride in our deafness and the knowledge that we are capable of being anything we want to be as a deaf person. Gallaudet gave us that. And
And it gave us community.
After traveling mountains across the world and having all of your experiences, how do you think that will impact deaf youth? They may want to be like you. They may also be inspired to go to Gallaudet. What message do you want to give to them?
What brought me to a place like Gallaudet with the upbringing I had? It was having role models, adults I'd seen my entire life, deaf adults who had confidence instilled in them, who were powerful, and who were proud of being deaf. They were in spaces I may not have thought were possible. As I became older and got involved in mountain climbing, it's not a space where there are many deaf people. We've had to see many things for ourselves. I want our stories to be shared with deaf youth, to show them that even if they don't see anyone like them in a certain space, they should go for it. They can conquer that space and actually become role models for the next generations. My hope is that our stories inspire them to do the same by going into a space that they probably don't see themselves in the first place, but to know that they should still go for it and conquer that space too. So, yeah.
That reminds me of one of my favorite stories. I was touring schools and we stopped at one of the schools. One girl sat with me after our presentation to have a heart-to-heart conversation. We were talking about her goals post-graduation. She shrugged and said, "I want to become president of the United States of America, but I can't, because I am deaf." I told her, "Why do you think you can't?" She said, "No one deaf ever became president of the USA. Deaf? Come on, that's exactly what we're talking about. Once you think you can't, then it won't happen. You need to start with your mindset. Believe that you can do it. Even though we've never had a deaf US president before, it doesn't mean it can't be done. If you believe in it, it's possible." In the past 20 to 40 years, no deaf person has climbed Everest. That doesn't mean it's impossible. We need to change our mindset. That student ended up agreeing with me. Chase your dreams and become president. It's possible.
That's the impact. This is the impact that Gallaudet wants you to share. You are walking, living representatives of Gallaudet University. You can see beyond.
It's literally for them to see beyond, too.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep on climbing. Now, I need a gallon of coffee. I'm shivering.